This movie sucked, Chris. I don't think that was good as, I guess, his hair.
Last January, I finally singed Martin Whistler out in one of the rim planets. Since then, I've been hunting down the last of his murdering cult. We call them Trancers, slaves to Whistler's psychic power. Not really alive, and not dead enough. It's July now, and I'm tired. Real tired.
Jack Deth is back. And he's never even been here before. Trancers.
Parental discretion is advised.
This is
TheHardCast.
It's time for another hypnotically slicked back episode of TheHardCast. I'm your host, Chris, and today I'm joined by Patrick.
Air follicles are for octopi.
Tonight's review/discussion is about the 1985 sci-fi cult classic, Trancers, directed by Charles Band, starring Tim Thomerson, Helen Hunt, and Art LeFleur. The year is 2247, and Jack Deth is a burnt-out trooper in Angel City. Jack has been in a downward spiral ever since the death of his wife at the hands of the evil Martin Whistler. Whistler is a criminal mastermind who has the psychic ability to trance weak-minded individuals into doing his bidding. Thought to be dead by the authorities, Whistler has actually traveled back in time in order to wipe out the ancestors of the council so he can assume control of the government. Jack Deth must travel back in the year 1985. To face his arch-nemesis and put an end to his diabolical plans. So Patrick, did Trancers mesmerize you with Jack Deth's over-the-top performance and memorable one-liners? Or were your expectations singed beyond recognition?
No. This movie wasn't that bad. It was bad, but it wasn't that bad. I wouldn't watch it again, that's for sure.
It has Tim Thomerson.
But he was that surfer dude and the wrong guys. But yeah, anyway, it's a weird movie. And like you said, the police trooper who goes back in time to stop this psychic guy, which doesn't make any sense because he says he uses his psychic powers, but I don't understand how he does.
Well, we should talk about how the movie starts, the intro, when he goes to that diner.
The diner with the black lady as a waitress.
Oh, it was a black lady? I thought it was like a rabbit orangutan.
Yeah, because she gets tranced, whatever the hell that means.
Yeah, we still don't know for sure what the hell Trancer is.
And then he talks to some guy who's just sitting there eating.
Jack Deth, Angel City PD, may I see your stats?
And it's weird because he's got this device that it's like a ring he puts around the wrist.
It's not really a ring, it's like a bracelet.
And then he can tell if they're trans. But everybody who's trans tries to kill him. So it doesn't matter that he's trying to check to see if they're trans, because if they're trans, they're going to try to fucking kill him anyway.
We have to talk about his apparel. His fucking shoulder pads are ginormous.
Yeah, just like in Cool World.
Just like Brad Pitt's character.
Brad Pitt's character, yeah. I mean, it's that kind of over-the-top kind of, not really large shoes, but kind of like that huge pads and the...
Well, you could tell they were definitely going for some kind of cyber noir type vibe going on. And from what I read, Charles Band, the guy who directed it, he was trying to do his own version of Blade Runner, but of course with a very limited budget and resources, which was very obvious.
Yeah, because you could tell by the cover it was like kind of futuristic, but it's kind of weird how the cover is so misleading.
Oh, the cover art is incredibly misleading. First of all, it shows someone wearing a helmet, and then it shows a laser gun, and it's all futuristic, well, kind of cool looking at least. It looks kind of like the artwork they used to have on all the old school sci-fi novels from back in the day. In the actual movie, most of it takes place in 1985, so it's not even that futuristic, and he only uses a laser gun a little bit in the beginning of the movie.
And it's not even the same gun, technically, because the gun on the cover...
Yeah, it looks way better, yeah.
And he's got like a metal glove. He looks almost like he's a cyborg.
Right.
And then in this, he's just a douchebag. Back to the ape who attacks him, the waitress. She like bites the shit out of him, and he gets his gun in the...
Yeah, actually, there's one thing that Trancers do a lot. They always try to bite him.
Yeah, this is really weird. I still don't understand the whole Trancer idea, but anyway, he's like a zombie almost. It's funny how his gun, he gets into the soup, whatever it was.
Yeah, it gets into a giant pot of soup, and then the Trancer orangutan throws the fucking pot at him, and then he just gets his gun from the pot, and then...
but he has to wait for it to cool off. Because he grabs it the first time, he like burns his hands. He's like, shit.
And then she throws a knife at his leg, too.
Yeah, he gets totally fucked up, bitten and stabbed, and I thought he was going to get infected, because I still, to this day, don't understand what the hell trance is, other than mind control. He finally gets to shoot her. Whenever you shoot a trancer and they die, they flame up or something.
They call it singeing. You singe them, and then they kind of just leave this outline, where the body was just all black marks and smoke. when he shoots them, they kind of just die instantly. And then you see later on in the movie also, like, their bodies just disappear. He just kind of describes it as being no longer alive, but not dead enough, in limbo in between being dead and alive. So it's weird. They don't really describe it too well, but that might kind of explain why their bodies just kind of disappear.
Yeah. So, of course, McNulty
is his boss.
Comes to the diner.
McNulty's played by Art LeFleur, who's a character actor you've seen in a lot of movies. He always plays cops and detectives. Other than that, I mean, him and Helen Hunt and Tim Thomerson are really the only recognizable faces to me anyway. The rest of the people in the movie are just kind of like... There was that black lady, too.
Right.
The doctor, the scientist one who injects them later on. Other than that, like you said, I think she's from a sitcom.
I could swear I know her voice from some sitcom. But other than that, yeah. So, of course, McNulty's like trying to get him back in. And he's like, we know you're going rogue, kind of. And you got to either do your missions the way you're supposed to, trooper, which they call policemen troopers, or you can just turn your badge in. And he says, well, fuck that or whatever. And he throws his plastic badge.
It didn't even seem like it was... like, when it hit the ground, it seemed more like it was paper or cardboard.
It was just like a click, click. You barely heard it.
Well, you have to mention, too, that the budget is like $400,000, so they probably didn't have enough money to make a badge.
Make a metal badge? My God, it was just... It had nothing to do with it. They could have... The sound effects guy could have just taken some keys or something, and that would have been better than the sound effect they used. Some coins in his pocket. So, of course, that means, I quit. Which doesn't matter, because... The next scene, he's diving at the beach, right?
Well, he's been on this kind of downward spiral ever since his wife died, and that's why he's kind of on this whole revenge thing where he's just going after Trancers without even worrying about his missions or his cases. And that's why he quits, because at the end he's just totally burned out. We see him diving later on.
It's all apocalyptic kind of. Los Angeles is covered in water, and so you just see the high-rise buildings, the tops of them. So he spends his time like just swimming through the city, getting garbage basically.
Yeah, it literally is garbage though. I mean, he's not finding anything good. It's not like Kevin Costner in Waterworld where he actually found cool stuff.
Hubcaps or metal bowls or something. It was stupid. I don't even know why he even grabbed it. Because it didn't matter that he quit, because that McNulty is like, the council wants you and you better not. He's basically a trooper again.
The council needs you. Fuck him.
First he's like, no, and then McNulty falls into the water. It's funny because I wanted McNulty to go into the water because he had that nice suit. Well, not nice.
Nice. fucking plaid. It reminded me of Eddie from Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes, the guy in the suit was going in the water. Yes. I don't know why I wanted him to go in the water, but I did.
You tranced him into doing it.
Tranced him. Oh my God. They go to the council, which is in some huge fortress.
Which we don't even get to see the fortress. The only reason why we know it's a fortress is because Jack Deth keeps saying, you're in a fortress.
How can Whistler get you in this fortress or whatever? And which is really, really stupid because the fortress is shit because it's leaking.
Yeah, there's water all over the floor.
It's falling apart. And then they have the council, which are 3 old people. Well, was 3 old people.
Yeah, we only get to meet 2 of them.
Really, in reality, they're just afraid for their lives. We need you, Jack, to go back in time and stop Whistler, who's gone back in time as well.
But they thought Whistler was dead. That's how bad their intelligence was. But really, Whistler had what they call gone down the line, which was travel back in time. There's a couple of cool things that I liked about the movie when it was set in the future, was that it felt like that world was actually developed a little bit. They actually had their own slang. They had the whole going down the line, squids, it's being singed. It was kind of cool because they had their own vocabulary. You could tell that when he said stuff, everyone else there understood him.
Yeah, in that time, but when he goes back into our time, well, right. 85 anyway, he never, what the hell are you talking about?
But I like that, though. I thought that was kind of cool. For a B movie, anyway, it just seemed like they put a little more effort into the actual story, at least that part of it. I personally thought the movie got quite a bit more boring once it got to 1985.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because 80% of the movie is basically in 1985. Their method for time travel was kind of interesting. They would inject them with this drug, and they were able to regress their minds back into the bodies of their ancestors during a certain time period. And then they would just take over that person's body, while their real body would be in the present day, which is the future. They'd have to take a special drug again, and they would go back to their original body. And then the original owner of that body that they took over would come back.
Creative, yes, but not thought out totally.
No, it's not thought out. Because remember how you were saying when one guy in the council said he saw the other council guy die?
Just disappear.
Yeah,
like vaporized. And I'm just like, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, you wouldn't have known he disappeared because he didn't exist anymore. Honestly, someone else would have been part of the council then. There would be another person there. If you thought it out logically, if Whistler killed all the current members of the council, then there would just be 3 other members of the council.
Yeah, and they would never even think of...
Right, no one would even...